Security and immigration are the most stressful parts of international travel for a lot of people, myself included. In this lesson, we'll look at what questions to expect and how to answer them confidently. In the US, the security is run by the Transportation Security Administration, or TSA. In other countries, it's a similar process, but each country calls it something slightly different. But they all generally scan you with a metal detector or a body scanner, and your bags go through an x ray machine. Passport control is when you go through an immigration checkpoint and are sometimes asked customs questions about the purpose of your visit and what you're bringing into the country. If you answer questions wrong or are just unlucky, you may be selected for secondary screening, where you're asked extra questions and sometimes your bags are searched. It's generally not a pleasant experience. When you're talking to the immigration officials, they may ask about the purpose of your visit or why you're traveling to the country. Make sure your answer matches the visa type that you're traveling on. They may also ask about the duration of your stay and when you're departing. And this is where they might ask to see your customs declaration, to see what you're bringing into the country that needs to be officially reported. At the security checkpoint, you'll need to follow instructions and sometimes ask clarifying questions about what you should remove from your bags and any clothes or accessories you need to take off. If you have medical devices or metal implants that can't go through the scanner, tell them before you go through, and they can usually use an alternative screening method. After your bags go through the scanner, you need to collect them and repack somewhere. Ask if you're not sure where to go. Using these phrases to ask politely generally makes this process a lot less painful. Being prepared to answer the four main questions immigration officers ask in English can make this a lot less stressful. Are you visiting for tourism, business meetings, visiting family, or studying? Again, make sure your answer matches your visa type. This cannot be stressed enough. They usually expect a specific time frame, like 3 weeks until May 20th or 10 days, when they ask about how long you're staying, too. They don't usually like to hear for a little while or I'm not sure yet. Having the name and location of your hotel, Airbnb, or the friend or family's address where you're staying written down or on your phone really helps if they ask where you're staying. And if they ask you what you do for work, they're asking about your profession, not whether you'll be working in their country or not. So, I'm a software developer, I work in marketing, or I'm a teacher, are appropriate answers. Keep it straightforward. Sometimes customs and immigration will ask for more details. These are some appropriate answers to the extra questions they might ask. It's generally best to be as brief as possible and keep your English clear. They just want an answer. They're not looking for your life story, but they do expect an answer. This whole process can be a really stressful situation. So, practicing these phrases and questions in case you don't understand something or need to clarify can really help. It's generally better to ask for clarification than to answer the wrong question. All right, it's time to practice thinking through your immigration strategy in English. Which of these is a more appropriate response to what's the purpose of your visit? Pause the video while you think this through. Answer B is direct, clear, and honest. Not only is it easier to answer this way using English in that stressful situation, it's exactly what the official wants to hear. Just the facts. When you're at immigration and customs, keep your answers brief and direct. Don't tell your life story. Just give enough specific information to verify that your entry into their country is legitimate. Less is more here. You do want to have your hotel address or proof of where you're staying and your departing flight information ready and easily accessible, just in case you're asked to show it. Being prepared looks organized and legitimate. Being unprepared can look suspicious. And if you're a digital nomad, understand that working remotely on a tourist visa is usually acceptable if you phrase it correctly. The key is making it clear that you're working for a foreign company, not working in the local economy. I'm working remotely for my US based company is fine. I'm here to work is not fine. It's typically allowed on tourist visas to work remotely, although some countries are stricter than others about this. I'm not giving legal advice here, but if someone just says they're a tourist, they usually aren't asking any extra questions, as long as everything else is in order. It's important to be consistent in all of your answers, too. Immigration officers are trained to spot inconsistencies because inconsistent stories suggest lying. So make sure your answers match your documentation, your visa type, and what you told the other officers. Really practicing this situation in English can help here. And never joke or be too casual at immigration. This is a formal government interaction with officials who have legal authority. Jokes about having contraband, sarcastic comments, and overly casual language don't land well. Stay serious, professional, and respectful. You can be friendly, but you can't be too casual. There is a difference. All right, it's time to practice. Think about how you'll talk to the Canadian immigration officer in English. This is the kind of real world communication we practice in one on one sessions to make sure your answers are clear and appropriate when you're standing there at that customs and immigration desk.